And you're on in 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, welcome.
We're really here.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, fuck it. Bye, guys. We're not doing it. All right, see ya. Luthien right now is like, is he serious?
Super good intro.
He probably would do that. He probably would. Welcome everybody. This is Calling It Now. You can call us and debate us if you like at 336-543-2101. Reminder that this show is generally shorter. Also, I feel like we haven't done this call in a little while. So first things first, if you're already here, hit the like button because it's going to go ahead and put the live stream. No, you didn't do anything wrong, Luthien. It's going to go ahead and put the live stream in front of other people. It helps the algorithm go, you know what people do? They like this. It also helps when you're actively engaged in the chat. So feel free to be actively engaged in the chat. But you know what? I haven't asked for in a little while. Any of y'all got some dads to send me? Any of y'all got some weird Christian MAGA dads to get to call in? Guys, get on your texters, get on your texties, and send out some texts and be like, hey, dad, look, there's this show. Because you and I argue, and you know, maybe don't say this part because they'll be in denial, but they're like, you know that you like kind of get my goat. You know that you know how to push my buttons because you put the buttons there. Okay. So I sometimes get maybe a little flustered, maybe a little peanut butter mouthed when you and I are talking about these different things. And it happens, guys. It happens to all of us. Family is the hardest.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 would not. If my dad called, I would turn it into the hang up instantly.
No, I mean, I'd love to. My dad calls.
You
could. Can he call in now, please? That would be amazing. Just get on, give us a ring.
I need a few more years of therapy before I can even consider that.
Mr. not last name Snow, because I rejected my parents' last name and have left them. But Mr. not Snow, let's do this thing. You know, let's just have it out. I know your arguments are going to be shaky, but that's just your Parkinson's. So 336.
Oh my God. What the fuck?
He got diagnosed with Parkinson's last year.
Why are we laughing about this?
Because he's an abusive, garbage human being. Like, it's literally like, it's. I'm sorry. Like, Parkinson's sucks, and obviously, look, I will tell you guys, I had a lot of distress.
My grandfather died of Parkinson's,
or with Parkinson's. You die of it much?
I don't know.
I'm not saying Parkinson's is funny. It's not funny. Legitimately, when I found out my dad has a diagnosis of Parkinson's, immediately I became very distressed. Not for him, but because I got genetic material from that fuckface. So immediately I was like, all right, what is my genetic risk now? I did the right thing. Somebody else got sick and I thought about myself. Okay. And so it's not funny. It's not funny at all. But if look, here's the deal, guys. I'll say it. If Trump got it, good. You know, like fucking, I finally, maybe something that'll humble you a little bit. Finally, you narcissistic piece of shit. Now I don't know if I'm talking to my dad or Trump. You narcissistic New York alpha male. You decide who's a winner and who's a loser. Still don't know who I'm talking about. Which one of them? They literally share with one of the things that was triggering for me and my siblings when Donald Trump was rising to power. We were literally like, he has dad's mannerisms, or dad has his. I guess our dad is younger than him, so he has his, but not by a ton, like a decade maybe. I guess that is kind of a lot of years. But anyway, it was really frustrating because we'd see like he'd be up there and people would be making a point. He's like, yeah, but you're just a loser, and we're like, fuck, dude, that's like what our dad would do. It's like just. I got pushed back into a vulnerable corner, so I'm just gonna lash out and start name calling. Like, I don't know. Anyway, my father's Donald Trump, guys. I don't know what to tell you, and he secretly has Parkinson's. My dad is
spread this rumor that Donald Trump is actually your father now.
Why I have a beard, because you can't recognize a Trump child if they have a beard. Okay, you can't see that my chin doesn't really exist. This is an illusion. But if I were to shave this off, you would see that it looks more like my mouth is set into the middle of my neck. You'd just be like, when did that become face? When did that happen? Neck, mouth. What? Isn't there what? There's a separator here and we're missing it. Anyway, I'm sorry to tell you guys now. It's this far along. I feel like at a certain point you've been holding a lie in for so long. You don't know how to bring it up after, you know what I mean?
Wait, have you ever had a clean shaven face on this show?
Years ago, I was also quite a bit heavier, but because we hit a Patreon goal, I cosplayed as Dill Hunty. So I went down to like a small goatee and shaved my head and the sides bald.
Was I just not around for that?
Yeah, I think that's correct. And you know what? I wouldn't look it up. I already know that that my face makes you want to throw up.
I have never said that or even implied it, and I'm being misquoted.
You said enough that's how I took it. Anyway, I already
I resent you for that.
You resent me. I cry myself to sleep at night. Anyway, this would be worse. This would be like, well, there's nothing recoverable here. Even if we were the last two on Earth. Now I know this.
I don't even think that's what was said.
Can you imagine being last two on? No. I'm saying even if we were the last two on Earth, if you saw that picture, you'd be like, I wouldn't even still want to hang out. Like even as buds. Promise has 0 ugly friends. I don't know if you guys know this. It's crazy. It's weird.
This is true.
Yeah. Everybody who's that. So then the question is, which one are you? Anti-woke in that you don't allow ugly people to be your friend, or you're so woke that you think they're all beautiful? I know which one you'll say. Don't even worry about it. But they're all beautiful.
Oh my God. This monologue is one of the most bizarre, the twists and turns this has taken.
I'm waiting for someone to call into debate. Anyway,
asking people to have their dads call you, and now
your dad with Parkinson
judging my beautiful friends.
Promise is bigoted against ugly people, and Donald Trump is my dad. I don't know what you mean. This is a normal intro.
Guys, you should call in. Tell me if I should want to move back to Trump's America. Tell me why I should want to be a conservative. Tell me why I should want to be a trad wife. Tell me why the Bible is good for women. Any of those things, I would take that call.
I never like to do because I feel like when you do a hypothetical that starts with a person's partner is gone, usually be like, what if so-and-so died? And then you're like, well, now I'm just stuck in how sad it is. So I'm not going to go with that. What would happen? Let's say, an interdimensional being teleported to you and was like, Yuka, it turns out only you can save our universe, but it's a one-way trip. The lives of trillions of people, and we only have room for one. In other words, I'm just coming up with a way to not make the hypothetical. What would you do if Yuka died? Anyway, will you come and save our universe? And so now,
you were giving him a really nice heroic ending first.
Also, he deserves it. He would do something at that level. Like Yuka's not dying of like Parkinson's. Anyway, I can't get off that note. I'm digging a hole deeper. Anyway, would you stay in Finland or would you move back to America?
Oh, I would try to find every way I could to stay.
Yeah. Oh, wait, how long until that's already an option? Because you're still working on that, right?
Technically, it actually, I'm right now in like immigration purgatory, waiting on my next residency permit to kick in to get approved, hopefully. But technically, I could apply to continue staying if I could provide, like if I show that I've been here already for a bit and I have work and all of that. So I think technically I could keep staying as a resident, not as a citizen, but I can apply for citizenship, I think in about 4 or 5 years.
So let's say let's say 5 years from now, that's when the guardian of the other galaxy comes up.
So if I'm a citizen of Finland.
Would you'd stay in Finland or do you come back?
Oh, I would definitely. I might maybe move a little bit around Europe and like hang in some other countries as well. I would not come back to the US at all.
And would you do anything with the knowledge that interdimensional travel is possible, or would you selfishly keep that to yourself?
I would totally keep it to myself.
Just be like, you guys don't get it now.
Yeah, that's just for me.
How would you handle the fact that he would seem to just disappear into thin air and people would assume you were a Black Widow? I mean, wouldn't they? He just disappeared, and you're like, what are you telling people? He went into space, and then you're like, okay, she killed him.
I could just honestly, nobody sees him anyways. He doesn't make appearances on the internet.
Yeah.
So I could just say that he's hanging out in the forest still.
By the way, if we really want to get some controversial people to call in, have you followed the Clancy trial at all?
A little bit.
Guys, I have bad news for you. Lindsay Clancy killed those kids. And I think it is bizarre how many people are
She said
seduced.
that she did.
Right. But then people will say like, yeah, and then basically what it comes down to is there are some indicators that he probably cheated on her, whether she knew of that or not. And he is not, he kind of looks like a murderer. And so people start with those two and the desire to hate him. To make it more interesting. And they have now been going in very conspiracy-minded way, and grabbing the pieces of that. And then this, and then this. And then they will claim things about the case that are fully not true. And
Can I say my take and you tell me how far off you think my take is? I just think that multiple things can be true at once. I think he's probably awful and horrible. I think she was severely neglected in her postpartum experience. We know that she confessed to the murders, that she did murder her children,
right.
And that is murder, and that there's no justification for that. And still, also, it's awful, what she's experienced and gone through as well. So there's just nobody. It's an all-around horrific situation, and I also think it's one that could have been prevented with better healthcare and mental health care.
Right. This is very much a way society failed, because on an individual level. We actually don't know the level to which he was terrible. Again, if he cheated, and there's almost always abuse where there's cheating present. It's just super common. There's a lot of people projecting what they know about it. As far as postpartum depression, it is depression. And I don't know if you guys have been with people who are very chemically depressed, but I didn't know how to deal with that shit until maybe a couple years ago. And I'm still not perfect at it. I still have a hard time with it. And sometimes it knocks me into depression. So when you talk about that level of severity of depression, the idea is most people are neglectful when when depression is brought to them, because to some degree with certain sessions of it, certain types of it, you're kind of just waiting it out and you don't know the right things to say. And it can be very frustrating to try and cheer somebody up, but that's not how depression works. And so you don't have a functional, we as a society don't have both the resources for an individual to deal with postpartum depression and have good access to mental health care and destigmatize healthcare, nor do we have the resources to make sure the partners of people are equipped to do so. I would say I am better than average dealing with people who have anxiety and depression. And that is a lot of dedicated work to that, both handling my own and learning how to through therapy and other programs that teach you these types of things. And again, still not perfect. And there are times if there is a depression around me that goes on a while, I tend to just absorb it and become super depressed. It sets it off in me too. So
right.
There's a lot of jumping to it.
I think men should receive postpartum care and education as well, because it should be a whole thing that affects the whole family, your ship partner if it doesn't, and it should be something that you sort out together. But I also think there's another longer term failing in that. What I've seen the defense presenting a lot of is how uninvolved the dad was in a lot of stuff, and how the care of the children was falling on her in an unequal amount, which is tale as old as time. That's super common. There's videos of him that I saw where she's stepping in and taking care of the kids, and he's just standing there doing nothing. So the mental load that she was probably carrying as a mother, and maybe this is a side topic outside of her potential psychotic break, but just the way that the gender roles, how they keep men away from responsibility when it comes to raising kids and being a present father. And living in Finland, sorry everybody, I always bring it up, but it has been shocking to me to experience being around fathers here. It is completely different than in the US. I mean, I say step up to them. They're like, what are you talking? Like, that's normal. That's what you do. Like, they are just as much of a parent in every way that they possibly can be, that the mothers are. And that's how it should be. So there's another failing too in that, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those things where some people died, and there's an element of it that this individual wasn't good, and had they been better, there's the assumption that had they then been better, this wouldn't have happened. But when you're talking about something that happened at this high of a level, heavily medicated, postpartum depression, one, that is speculation, and two, you are talking about shit that's happening every day, and murders aren't happening as a result of it. And so while a lot of those things are bad, the thing that I have the biggest problem with is people basically are like, yeah, but she was a victim of his or the system or whatever before. And there's almost like a therefore, like I've seen a lot of people posting the like, even when the husband didn't do it, or even if he didn't do it, he did it. Like that exact phrase, or things that are phrases like that. And it's kind of like, cool guys, men will thank you so fucking hard for that line of reasoning. Because if as soon as guilt for something is transferred, if you can prove you were abused first, that you were a victim before you were a monster, every abuser will get off. Because that's literally what abuse is. Abusers are victims becoming abusers. I'm sure there's the little exceptions of people natural born psychopaths and all that kind of shit. But abusers are, the concentration, it's well above 90%. People who are significant abusers were significant victims beforehand.
Right.
And so
and
if
this
we're going to
wasn't
start doing this
kind of
transfer thing, that's craziness.
And this wasn't like a self-defense thing, like a domestic abuse self-defense,
Right.
Where things get nuanced or anything like this. Is her small children,
Yeah,
that she murdered. So,
yeah.
and I don't think that part is being disputed. I don't even think that's what they're discussing in the case. Now, I will tell you what was not involved in any part of this case that I'm hearing Christians talk about, and all like the Matt Walshes and all of those guys. Demons. There was no demons were involved in this, and it is so disgusting how quickly those misogynistic assholes fall into the like witch. She's a witch. She's demon possessed. No, this is something a human did, and that's horrible, and it's upsetting. But we should acknowledge that that's something humans are capable of and can and will do in situations like that. So,
People, I'm sure there are going to be comments later because we don't have a lot of the people in chat at least admitting that they are. I mean, it's a big enough thing that's happening that I'm like, I know some of you guys are sitting there and you're going like, okay, but what about the fact that his watch at this time, like that's the perfect conspiracy brain. People, by the way, you can literally call it, well, it's kind of all of them. They're like, okay, but how do you explain then this, and it's always these like things where you're like, you know, that you can explain it by just simple things, or even when like, and you know, he was gone just for this amount of errand, and yet he only needed this amount of errand, but he was gone for much longer. I was like, okay, but think about what you're asking. Could a person have just gone and spent extra time away, or taken a long time, or hit traffic, or whatever else? Is that a reasonable explanation? I know it doesn't satisfy you. Or is it more is the more reasonable explanation he left to go get caught on camera, came back home, murdered everybody, gaslit her into believing she did it, tucked her in the snow, and then went back out and then made the phone call to establish that he was and then like people don't think about the size of the conspiracy they're creating,
right?
Where
and
it's
meanwhile,
like there's a lot of simpler explanations.
Yeah, and meanwhile she still confesses.
Right. That's one of the ones they jump to. They're like, well, she doesn't remember. And it's based on one thing she said to a chaplain, because she actually does remember. She says she remembers, but she had said to a chaplain who she met with dozens of times while she was in the hospital after the incident, immediately goes straight to God and Christianity, that she's just relieved that the kids are safe. And so now we know from that chaplain's testimony that it was within the context of safe in heaven, not actually safe. But they think that that is an establishment, that statement is an establishment she didn't remember killing them. And so either she has amnesia, or maybe it's because she didn't kill him in the first place. But that's not true. She does remember. And in fact, there are going to be people who were like, well, if it's that clear and she confessed, why is she going not guilty? She's not going not guilty as in I never killed them. It's not guilty by essentially a plea of insanity by an oncoming psychosis, which may be correct, may be the correct way to handle. It may be that she, one, should probably never have children again, and two, will be still kept from society while she is rehabilitated in a facility that is different from a prison, but is also a kind of prison that is essentially a mental health prison. And that might be the better direction. And if her brain can actually be rehabilitated to lucidity, then there's the possibility she would be, because I don't hold her. It's kind of like one of those things where obviously it's a fucked up situation. And it sucks because there's not any individual to hold responsible for it. Again, yes, husband failed in a lot of ways. Society failed in even more ways. Like Promise was talking about, the establishment of patriarchy that was the fundamental foundation of their relationship that already had this sort of division of labor. The children are you, and I don't know, breadwinning or whatever his side of the whole thing is supposed to be. The man, he was doing the man's job, she was doing the woman's job. That's where it begins. And then also the lack of mental health services and stigma and all that shit. Yeah, it was a girl job.
Right. Have you did you watch yet the new what is it called? Like Pastor's Wife or whatever, about Micah Miller, the new documentary?
No, I don't think.
Oh, you have to watch it. That's fascinating.
It all will depend on if Luthien secretly watched it without me, and then when I go, oh, should we watch this? She goes, I actually watched it without you the other day.
Is this a sore subject?
This started happening recently and really hurt my feelings.
That's like one of my biggest, like that hurts my feelings really bad too. I used to have a partner that would do that. I wasn't as interested
in them, and I was like, "What? How did you get that?"
Well, here's my thing,
Luthien. You're allowed to talk. You're allowed to speak up for yourself.
Even if it's something that like I maybe wouldn't care that much about, if my partner found it to be interesting and it's a new thing that they haven't watched either, I'm like, I want to watch it with you, and then I want to decide if I think it's boring or not, and then you can continue without me.
I'll tell you if I'm okay to get skipped on, but especially the ones that are like murder overlapped with like religious shit. Generally, there are ones that we start to watch that I become uninterested in because they're boring. Like there are certain ones that are like, we could have done this in an hour, but we've turned it into a 6-episode, 45-minute, lots of repetition, lots of focusing on satellite people who don't really matter. And don't forget me, your host. For the love of God, never forget me, your host. And I hate those. But, we find out together. That those ones are boring. Anyway, Luthien, did you already watch The Pastor's Wife?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so we can watch that one.
See?
What's that one on?
Netflix.
Oh, well, we'll do it. She said to me the other night, you probably don't want to be looking on Netflix for a documentary for both of us to watch because I've probably watched them all.
I mean, in Luthien's defense, if you're constantly not available to watch the shows,
we watch TV every day. We watch hours of TV while we do other stuff every single day.
Apparently, you were not there when she.
I don't know why she's not speaking up for herself. She's acting like she has to be. It's okay.
I'll debate you now on her behalf because no one's calling in.
Like,
even though I'm technically on your side.
I'm just sweet, soft producer voice. Jimmy's the problem. His dad has Parkinson's, guys.
Oh my God, Jimmy, please. Why?
336-543-2101, 336-543-2101. What should we be adding into here?
But the Bible is problematic. Let's speak to the Gen Zers. Isn't that what they say? Isn't that what the kids are saying these days? Problematic? Or is that millennial? I don't know.
Why are you writing these things in the text chat and not just saying them?
I'm not saying... You're not talking about me.
She's like sending counterpoints in the text chat.
She's protecting your honor.
We should throw abortion on this board. We had a pretty good abortion show the other day.
Yeah. Let's do that. Put abortion rocks.
Abortion all 9 months is, I think, what has worked.
Oh my God. Has it worked?
Mm-hmm. What do you mean, oh my God? That is our position.
I know. It's just like so rage baity, but that's also our position, I guess. So
let me shorten this list a little bit. Da-na-na-na-na. I don't think you guys have gotten a single call off of the trad wives is not peak bin.
We only did that one time, I think. So. And it wasn't even my idea.
I have hiccups.
I just almost had the hiccups. I forced them away, I think. What if we both had the hiccups on the show at the same time? That would be really unfortunate.
People are suggesting the Bible is chopped as fuck.
That's
Bible
great.
equals chop. True. I'm doing that one. Bible.
Have you heard that the like incel red pill dude bros are now not showering and they're shaving off their eyelashes?
Okay.
Because that's apparently really feminine, is to have eyelashes.
I think it has something to do with.
Watch the videos. It's horrible.
They really want to keep their friends, and they know that they lose their friends as soon as somebody's willing to. As soon as an incel gets so much as a smile from somebody regularly, they're like, you know what? I just realized that this place is gay as fuck. I'm out. And so and by gay in that one, guys, they mean it in a bad way. Anyway, they mean like it's bad. And so as soon as they start dating somebody, they start hanging out with a girl that they like and she's nice or whatever, they bail on it. So they're like, oh, okay, guys, here's what we're going to do to show women. They're basically making it impossible to lose their friends because they're turning their friends impossible to want. You don't like that theory?
No, I think I'm nodding.
Such silence.
I was trying to come up with ideas for the thing. I'm looking through my comments.
We'll take this call,
oh, we got a call. Just kidding.
John in Texas. Hey, that's where I am. John in Texas, you're on the line with Jimmy and Promise. What's up, John?
Hey, I was scrolling and I saw you guys. I think the topic that was on was that the Bible and Christianity are bad for women, and I disagree.
Yeah. Great. Do you think they're good for women?
Yeah, I do.
Tell us why.
I'd actually even like to be even more specific. Would you have some verses that you'd like to specifically point to that you feel are like, this is a verse that clearly is just great for women?
Well, none come to mind right off the top of my head, but I do know that Jesus Christ, during the time he was alive, I mean, women were a really kind of ostracized people group, and he intentionally went out of his way to make inroads for them to be recognized not only as property anymore, but as people.
Wait, why didn't he make any of them his disciples? How come he had 12 disciples and they were all dudes? That would have been a great way to prop up women and make them equal. Why couldn't he have 6 guys and 6 women if he was like really paving the way for women?
Well, he had 12 apostles, but
yeah, why couldn't that was a pretty important position. So why couldn't 6 of them have been women?
Well, I think God's ordained order is pretty clear scripturally throughout the Old and New Testament that men have been established as leaders, and so.
Oh, so it's not. So Jesus doesn't actually think that there should be equality there.
Well, define equality.
He didn't think that women were good enough to be in a position of leadership.
I don't think that's a true statement.
Hey, could you grab your Bible for me, buddy?
Yeah, I got my Bible.
Sure. You got 1 Timothy up?
Sure, let me turn to 1 Timothy.
Chapter 2.
Which verse?
Chapter 2, verse 11. If you'd read it out for us.
1 Timothy 2:11.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me get there. Okay, 1 Timothy 2, verse 11. Let a woman learn quietly with all submissiveness.
Keep going.
You want the next verse?
Yeah, probably through 15.
Okay, I do not permit a woman to teach or to exercise authority over a man. Rather, she is to remain quiet. For Adam was formed first, then Eve, and Adam was not deceived, but the woman was deceived and became a transgressor. Yet she will be saved through childbearing if they continue in faith and love and holiness with self-control.
Do you reject this verse?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Do you reject this verse since it's contrary to what you just said, that you don't believe that God has established that women can't be leaders?
Well, this is talking about in the church. And
No, it's in the church and broadly. But let's make it in the church. In the church, women can't be leaders.
Well, define leader. If you're talking about pulpit ministry,
I just described a perfect position where if Jesus actually cared about opening doors for women and showing that they are just as valuable and just as capable as men, then he could have very easily made 6 of his apostles women. Well, but instead of that, we go on to have Paul show up and say that women shouldn't even be permitted to speak in church. So that doesn't seem like Jesus actually cares about women's rights or wanting to create space for women.
I'm interested
too in the verse. At it very acutely, because the gospel Jesus made very clear is for all people. He didn't just make the gospel available to men.
But John, you won't answer my question. Why wouldn't you still won't address this? Why do you think Jesus decided to make all 12 of his apostles men instead of having even one be a woman? I think it would have been.
Well, I did address that.
Actually showing something. I think it would have taught people something, and it actually would have been revolutionary if at that time he had decided to let 6 of them be women. So why didn't he allow for that? Why was that not important?
Well, because God's ordained order for leadership since the very beginning of the Bible has been male leadership. And so when Jesus was building the church, he designed it the same way.
Okay, that's shit for women. That's absolute shit for women. That is absolute shit for women.
You're literally saying, so the Bible's good for women if you accept the Bible is true. We don't. So we need the Bible proven as independently good for women, not just on the basis, because then any book, any dogma, Islam is, I don't think you're going to sit here and say Islam is good for women. Because you're not going to hold Islam as good for women by the standard of the Quran.
And I appreciate you. I appreciate you pointing out the disconnect, because you're absolutely right. I do hold the Bible to be 100% factual and inerrant.
But you also don't even know what's in the Bible. You also seem to not even know what's in the Bible. Because, for example, moments ago, you just said that Jesus eliminated their status as property. I would love to hear about that verse. Because the Bible actually reinforces biblical marriage is in and of itself a transfer of property from man, from father to husband. We even see this reflected in the 10 Commandments that Christians mistake is somehow deep, that when listing the properties of not to covet, you have the woman next to the donkey. It doesn't say thou shalt not cover thy neighbor's husband at all, or his wife or husband, because the commandments, even the commandments, weren't for the women. So I would be just thrilled to hear where Jesus eliminates, because you made that claim as one of your first ones. He stops their status as property.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure I understand everything you just said there, but
sure, I'll just make it very simple. Where is the verse that establishes Jesus eliminating the property status of women?
Well, so it's not explicit. So in the four Gospels,
or implicit. Where is the verse that it's implicit? Or are you saying it's just an abstraction you've come up with?
Even then, please share.
No, I didn't.
Please share where you're getting this from.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so it is implicit, and the verses I'm
Where?
referring to are in all four Gospels, where we see women as the first witnesses to the resurrected Jesus. And so contextually, in that culture at the time, women were seen as not reliable witnesses, not reliable givers of testimony. And so
Right. Yeah,
when we
I know this
read
take.
verses,
I'm
yeah,
sorry, we're gonna cut you off because this is a terrible argument. The change that you are describing is not the change that women are no longer property. It's that, hey, by the way, one of your properties with a sufficient man to vouch for them,
oh,
they
I
actually
see.
can be
Okay.
witnesses.
I understand what you're saying now. Okay. There's kind of two different kind of explanations going on at the same time.
It's crazy because
But
I know
let
which
me.
verse he could try to reach for, and he's not even given it. It's
I
tough to
know.
argue with people who just don't basically know what the Bible says, but they have
Well,
this
and
thought.
so
Well,
to be
And
honest, John, so far as a woman, what you've brought up makes me really happy that I don't have to abide by the Bible or by Jesus or by Paul because they didn't actually have women's best interests in mind at all.
But also, if we're saying the Bible is good for women, you can't use circular reasoning, which is what you wanted to use. Let's start with the premise that the Bible says it's good for women, and I believe the Bible is true. If you want to use reasoning like that, you have to break the circle and go, here's how I will prove the Bible is true. And then we can start to have that conversation. It can't be the Bible is true and Bible says it's good for women, which it doesn't even explicitly say that. But and we're starting with the Bible. You just go in a circle and over and over and over again.
no. Hey, and
But let's
that
say
is absolutely
let's say
fair. And I right now I don't
okay,
know
John.
that I could convince you of the Bible
Right,
being
you would
true. I
need
don't
facts and
think.
evidence. There's an entire audience of people that
Well,
you could make a compelling argument, and you might be able to convince them because let's be honest, you and us debating is more for the people who are thinking about it and considering between our positions than each other. But John, the question I was going to ask you that I was leading into was, let's just say I will go ahead and grant you a bunch of things, and I'm granting you so much that this is a charity basically. Let's say I grant you that the Bible does actually establish women are no longer property in the New Testament. It definitely does not, but I'll grant you it. I'll even pretend there's a verse that says it. Is God now off the hook for most of the book before? Did or did not the God in this book establish women as property and even made methods by which you could keep a rape victim as a wife? You could have sexual slaves. You could kill a woman's entire family, her father, her mother, her brothers, and her sisters who had ever had sex, and then force her, after only a month of time to mourn, force her to fuck you. And then if you enjoy the fucking, you can keep her as a wife. And if you don't, you can send her off to live in isolation among you, amongst a people who genocided her people to try and see if they get by. That's in that all of what I just described to you is in the Old Testament. So in this book that's good for women, when do we need to say the good parts start? And why would the God who is apparently embodied in this Jesus Christ, if we pretended that your verse exists that absolves them of the property things, that everything leading up to it is just something you ignore? You're like, that's just the prequels? What are we doing?
well, I have an answer for that. That unfortunately, you would not really be satisfied with because again, it
Then
would
try a
fall
different
back on you
answer.
having to accept the Bible as true. Well,
Okay, then if that is true, then instead you need to only be debating if the Bible is true.
okay. Hey, thank you so much for having me on.
So you're not willing to defend that the Bible is true?
Oh,
Yeah,
I
we can have
absolutely
that
am.
conversation.
If you'd like
All right.
to. Okay.
Yeah, why do you think the Bible is true?
The same reason I believe every other history book is true.
I don't believe every other history book is true. Why do you believe every history book is true?
Okay. Not every other book, but any history book that you would accept as true. That's why I accept the Bible as true.
So if a Muslim tells me that's why they believe the Quran, who do I believe? You or them? Should I now believe the Bible or believe the Quran? Because you both think I believe this because I believe history books and I consider this book to be a history book. So which of you should I believe?
Well, there's definitely some big differences in how the tradition of keeping the scriptures has been throughout Christian and Islamic history. But as far
They're
as
the crazy ones, right?
no, I don't think you're crazy. I actually think
No,
you're very
they,
logical.
the Muslims, they're the crazy
Oh,
ones.
I see.
This is what Christians do also with each other and Mormons and
I
stuff
have
and my
Muslim
version of the
friends.
Bible, but those ones over there are crazy.
No,
Here's the easiest way to
Abu
debunk what you
Bakr
just
was
said.
crazy for destroying every other version of the Quran,
Cool.
and only keeping the one that he thought was correct.
Yes, John, it's very, very easy for both you and I to take little shots at Muslims and how silly they are, like we're pretending you don't have a magic baby in the room. Islam, fine, John, fine. This pedantry is totally unnecessary. John, at the fundamental is you said to me that you accept the Bible for the same reason I accept. You said the word "you," referring to me and probably promise. You said that any reason you accept it, but that's not true because I reject every history book which contains magic, and the Bible contains magic as having happened as a literal event.
Define magic.
Yeah, that which defies the natural order and apparently can be will-based, brought into literally. You're trying to do the define pedantry thing. You know what I mean by magic. The miracles are magic. They're not following. You can in a minute. The miracles are magic.
All right.
Resurrection is magic.
I no longer would like to debate. I hope you have a great day, and I genuinely pray for your salvation.
John, you're a coward, and you're actually breaking the Bible's rules right now. You're supposed to have an answer for all these things according to your New Testament.
Well, I would love to continue as long as it was, respectful, and I felt like there was a dialogue, but I don't see a point in continuing. So again.
Okay, well, John, then you're defying your own book.
I appreciate your time.
Oh, you're defying the New Testament.
Your time.
You're defying the New Testament.
Okay, have a nice day.
Bye, coward. He got frustrated when he wasn't allowed to interrupt me. He would ask me a question of how do you define magic, and I insist on finishing the answer. I no longer want to do this. As soon as we got to I can't just take pot shots at Muslims, and I have to actually defend that the Bible is true, and then I make a claim that I believe in the Bible, the same reason why Jimmy and Promise believe in any kind of history book, which, by the way, you definitely don't, because you know what else I am? He said earlier, did he not, that he accepts the Bible as the inerrant 100% true word of God?
Yes, that all of it is fact, which would have been wild to actually get into.
I accept a lot of zero history books as 100% inerrant and untrue.
Inerrant, yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of Christians won't even say that it's 100% accurate, inerrant, and all of that. So I don't know. That he kind of lost me when he started down the whole like women don't need to be in positions of leadership, but there's no reason for it other than just the Bible says so.
Right. So, and then he admitted well, yeah, I have to start with the Bible's good for women because the Bible is true. And I declare that the Bible represents itself as good for women. It's literally, I think he got caught. He got locked into like, I only have fallacies here and I don't have a way out without more fallacies. And he's like, so now I have to act like I'm above this because Jimmy insists on answering the questions that I just asked him. It was very, very cowardly.
Have been unprepared. In which case, I hope that he'll prepare and call back sometime.
Chris White in chat says he wants to call in and defend Trump. Do it. Phone number's right there. 336-543-2101. 336-543-2101. He also said you all have TDS. I actually think you have TDS. We'll find out. Genuinely MAGA people.
Oh man,
Trump
imagine
syndrome.
August of 2026 and you're defending Donald Trump. That's
right. Most of MAGA want to just talk about social issues like trans issues. Like they want to just go to trans and abortion and all of these things that they're scared of, that they've never met a single person that they know was that they are unaffected by. They want to go purely to dude, I saw them trying to revive what is it called? CBT. What is the full Jesus Christ. The theory that guys, again, brain injury, and I sometimes can't remember words that are words I use all the time. It might not be CBT. The one that basically racism is systemic. Critical race theory, CRT, critical race theory. They're trying to like bring that back up again right now, as though it's been like there's been a reemergence of people demanding it be in schools and all this kind. They're trying to reemerge their best hits that nobody's realistically been talking to at any significant point. If anything, the libbed up people are doing this like, we're done with woke 1.0, we're going to woke 2.0, which is where I can still call you I'll stand up for someone being racist and I'll call you an R slur while you're doing it. Like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Hooah. We've got people, well, Chris in chat doesn't look like one of these two people that are screening right now. I don't know what's going on. I have 2 more packs in this box of Hobbit Magic the Gathering cards I can unpackage. So if people super chat $10, I rip the packs. Are you pretending? Was that sarcasm?
No.
Oh, okay. There's 2 packs left in that box, $10 each, and I'll rip them on air while I'm doing other stuff. And then after like those 2 are up, I have another box of Hobbit, or if somebody super chats wanting me, I'll start ripping. I have this from last year.
Why do we
Avatar:
call
The
it
Last
ripping?
Airbender.
Is there not a better word for that? Like opening?
I don't know. You're ripping the pack, not the
I
cards.
don't like that. I don't like that at all.
All right.
I don't know. I don't like it.
It's drugs. It's a drug reference because we're all ripping. Straight
Wait,
up
is
ripping.
It?
No.
Oh.
I always forget you're so straight edge that like
I'm homeschooled.
Yeah.
It's not even straight edge. Just homeschooled. I just don't know anything. I've done cool things. I just don't know what to call it.
Sir Zir, if I ripped the golden Smaug, that would be incredible since these are standard booster boxes and not the collector's box. It would mean somebody went out of their way.
Gotta stop make sure I got it ripped.
Well, there's ripping and there's pulling. You rip the pack, you pull the cards.
Why? Why can't we just say it's opening and looking?
I mean, people say open.
Okay.
Wait, what is wrong with pulling?
I don't know. I don't like everything about that. I don't like.
They pull. I'm just saying, promise.
No, cards don't pull.
No,
that
but it's
even make
the whole
sense.
idea is like this is like, oh, I pulled a Charizard. Like you're usually talking about like the best one.
You drew one.
Well, we're not. It's not in deck form. You're not drawing. Drawing's the thing you do to a deck.
Then
whenever I'm doing a magic trick for somebody, I don't go, "Hey, draw a card." As I
pick a card. It's pick, not pull.
Yeah, but that's only one card. But you're going through look. There are dozens.
I'm just
of
telling
years,
you. It's just a
you're not going to make
and
this
I don't
change.
like it.
You needed to bring this up like 50 years ago.
If anybody ever wants to know why I don't get involved in these things, then it's because I feel excluded because I don't like the verbiage.
Do you know what card? Do you know what it's called? The card that you're hoping most to get to pull? It's called the chase card. Are you okay with that?
No, because that doesn't make sense. Nobody's
running.
You're chasing. You're searching. You're
I'm
searching.
positive you have had a chaser with a drink before, and you're like, now I gotta go run.
Actually, I haven't. I don't take.
You've
chasers.
never had alcohol with a chaser. You never had a shot and been like,
unless you count lemon. I
do, but I also count when you're like, if you take a drink and you're like, oh, I hate the taste of that, so you put something else in your mouth.
You want to know my secret?
I
don't really take shots.
I don't really drink at all. Somebody yesterday overstepping their medical fucking advice boundaries called in or in the live chat was like, Jimmy, please, I'm asking you to stop drinking. And then says to the live chat,
do you even drink at all?
Zero. And they were like, the red splotches on his face are signs he's experiencing liver damage. Shut the fuck up. Legitimately, I don't care if you never come back.
As a licensed esthetician, I can confirm that that is not true. Yeah, exactly. And rosacea, especially if you have chronic illness, that will inflame rosacea. So,
and by the way, there is some shit going on with my liver, but that's none of people's, and it has nothing to do with my face. I've diagnosed rosacea. Like, fuck off. If my liver gets bad, red is not the color I have to worry about. It's fucking yellow, dipshits.
We've got some calls.
Yeah, we should do them. I should stop fighting about.
Do
whatever.
them? Why are we using all these weird terms for things?
All right, we're going to pull Roger on air. Roger from Illinois, you are on the line with Jimmy and Promise. Go ahead, Jimmy and Promise.
Okay, hello.
Or go ahead, Roger.
This is my
Sorry,
first
brain.
time.
Go ahead, Roger.
Yeah, this is my first time, conversing, about Christianity or God, in a live stream on YouTube. So just bear with me.
Me too.
No, I'm just gonna try my best. All right. So, yeah. So I mean, one of your topics was if God exists or not, right?
Yes, I see no compelling evidence for the existence of God.
Why is that?
I mean, why do you see no compelling evidence for the existence of an invisible unicorn in your? Because nobody has I've looked for. In fairness, you probably haven't looked for the unicorn, but I have looked hard, and basically all evidence for God usually falls into one of a few categories of cognitive biases, fallacious arguments. And generally, as you expose yourself to people who believe in God, why they personally believe and the arguments they present for their belief are also completely divergent. So I grew up in a Holy Spirit, very heavy type of Christianity adjacent religion, where it was about how you felt and these signs that you were seeing of God, but starting with the assumption that that God exists and is acting in your life. So it's called confirmation bias. So that is the best I can answer for why I have not seen any compelling evidence.
Roger, I'd be more interested in hearing. So, Roger, we're going to all have maybe slightly different answers. And so I'd be more interested in hearing your perspective. I assume, well, it says you're a theist, so you believe that a God exists. And I would want to know why you accept that belief. Why do you believe that a God exists?
Oh, well, okay. So before I answer, I just wanted to say something. How long am I able to call for? Is there a limit or not?
Until the show ends at 4, but as long as we're all having a good time and you're being good faith and honest and answering the questions, we generally don't rush people off. We're not going to give you an uninterrupted colloquium if that's what you're asking for.
A good call on average goes about 20 to 30 minutes if you're answering honestly.
Okay, good. Okay, so you asked me why I believe in a God, right?
Yes.
Yes. Why do you believe a God exists?
I mean, to be fair, I grew up in a Christian Catholic faith, so I just naturally believed. Even when I was a kid, I was a very happy kid. I even acknowledged that God created, life and how beautiful life was. Of course, his life is not perfect, but it's probably because I grew up in the faith and just stuck with it. And I've also researched a lot about Christianity. And
sorry, Roger, I'm going to cut in real quick just to ask, just to get some clarifying questions, and then we'll move forward. Do you think that if you grew up in a Muslim home as opposed to a Christian one, that you would be a Muslim?
Yeah, if I was, if I grew up in it, I would be a Muslim, but I feel like
do you then my next question is, just for clarity, do you believe that Christianity is true?
Yes, I do.
Okay, that's where I'm going to be really interested to hear why.
Sure. Well, because of the evidence of Jesus Christ, right, and his resurrection, and
what's that?
The whole history about the New Testament and the Old Testament as well.
So, can you give us that evidence that Jesus Christ resurrected?
Or that there's ever been any
I'm not an expert, in Christianity, but I watch a lot of Apologists, like Dr. Frank Turek. But I guess there are a lot of manuscripts.
Let's just call him Frank Turek. Let's be real.
Wait, what do you say about him?
I said let's just call him Frank Turek. I don't respect the diploma mill doctorage. Roger, Roger, you said that you are compelled. Hang on. Roger, you said you are compelled by the evidence of the resurrection. And now you're saying when we asked
I
you
answer
what
his
that
question?
is, now you're saying you're compelled by other people who say there is evidence, it seems like. Do you have actual evidence that if it is true, even if you are repeating it, would be compelling? Because I think, Roger, what you're about to find out, if I can jump ahead, I can spoiler alert people a little bit. You're about to find out there isn't even adequate evidence to prove Jesus, the man, existed, but as a historical figure, we generally accept that he does, because the proof of a historical figure barrier is much, much lower than, say, like a scientific fact would be, that something happened and we call it a fact as supported by science, because there's not really such thing as a thing called a scientific fact. But the bar of a historical figure is much, much, much lower. In fact, there are certainly lots of people through history that we accept as historical figures that probably either didn't exist at all, or they are a combination of other people's stories. So now that we're past all of that,
Can I answer
what
his
is
question,
it?
though, the last thing that he just said?
Yeah, sure.
Roger, when you said, like, do we accept the manuscripts and all of that, and Frank Turek, as somebody who grew up listening, unfortunately, to Frank Turek and all of that, I used to think that that was a good reason to believe in the resurrection, specifically the 500 witnesses that were cited. Is that one of the reasons for you, is hearing that there was 500 witnesses to the resurrection?
I mean, like I said, I've always been in the faith. So, but I mean, I researched more on Christianity, like through apologists that know what they're talking about. You know what I mean? So, like,
But did you?
I learned more through them.
Here's the problem. Yeah, but here's the problem. I would advise that you learn from experts outside of people that are grifters, because what I learned is that we don't know that there's no 500 witnesses. We have one account claiming that there was 500 witnesses. That would be like me right now saying, I just saw a unicorn jump over the moon, and 500 other people saw it as well. I can't tell you their names. I can't tell you anything about them, but just trust me, bro. There was 500 other people that saw it too.
Or their videos.
Right. And I can't tell you what their description of what they saw was. Just that I saw this thing, and so did 500 other people. So that is just one example of why no apologist that I have heard so far has offered evidence of the resurrection or of anybody raising from the dead. They continue to just quote the Bible. And the Bible is a story. It's a claim. It is not evidence of something.
Yeah, there's Roger, earlier in your... Go ahead. No, go ahead and respond.
What are you saying? Yeah, I'm saying before we jump to Christianity, though, like, I feel like we should start with, like, can a divine being like God even exist? And then jump into which religion would fit the best character of that.
I disagree.
Because you said you don't believe in a God, so
I disagree, because if we did that
first, right?
Hey, Roger, we can do that, and we can go down that line if you want, but you have a specific God claim, and we're not going to turn our entire show into hang on, I'm not done, Roger. Roger,
I can get to that point after, right?
Roger.
Sure.
We're not.
Okay.
We have people who call in with different claims all the time. If we were following your advice, it would literally be like, so every single call, only talk to them about their specific religious beliefs if they have successfully proven God to you exists, which means we would never get to them. I don't care about granting a person even a position of deism, though I think deism is just cowardly atheism. I don't care about those things, because at the end of the day, your barrier right now to potentially atheism, Roger, or secular humanism, which is what I think you are, isn't the actual way people break down is local first. So you're saying, like, well, if we go to this larger abstract concept and then you and I get nowhere, your progress toward what I think is actually the better outcome is not actually serve better. And if you could break down my walls over the reason why I think Christianity is incoherent, then you would at least put something back on my thing of like, all right, let me give this a second look to consider. It doesn't actually make sense to take something that you have that has such specific beliefs that are also much more easily debunkable and go, all right, let's not even examine those beliefs and whether or not I'm being reasonable. Let's go back to the Philbro conversations and see if everybody has their dialogue trees memorized. If you are wrong, we should start local. And if I'm wrong, we should start local. So you believe that there is evidence for the resurrection, and I simply want to know what evidence you believe there is.
Well, yeah, I know, but I'm saying one of the topics of the call was like, does God exist, right? Wasn't that one of
but
the
that's not the call. But that's
topics?
not the one you called in on. That's not the one you presented.
That's what I said. I said God exists and Christianity.
Right. And so
Right?
so I said, if we're going to have a useful conversation, we should go local. And you said God exists through Christianity. And
Well,
so
I'm saying
Christianity would
is
be
the
the
religion,
local.
right? So,
Roger, you asked how long you have. I will tell you, if now you're going to sit and go, I'm not actually going to debate the things that are my most significant daily beliefs. I'm going to try go Philbro dialogue tree and do an ontological argument or a theological argument. I'm going to start channeling some William Lane Craig. I'm not interested. We'll just end I'd rather do no call than Philbro bullshit. You have beliefs that you every day are acting on. Let's go with your everyday beliefs.
And Roger, if you prove those everyday beliefs, then you've killed two birds with one stone, because then you've proven that there's a God as well. To prove Christianity true would be to prove that there's a God.
Or even if you just got me to a position of that's reasonable for you to believe would be huge progress.
I mean, yeah, but I already believe it. So I'm saying, are you asking me like what values or what morals I go by through Christianity? Like you mean like the Christian morals? Like I follow the Christian morals.
We've already laid this out very many times. We're asking you accept Christianity. We're asking you what your evidence says. And I feel like you desperately don't want to answer that question because you are continuing to obfuscate and be pedantic. So we'll just ask it again. If you're not interested and you can't.
Like I said, I'm not an expert.
Roger, can you answer the question? Yeah. What evidence do you find compelling that leads you to say the resurrection happened?
Well, I mean, like, okay, so, well, first of all, I believe miracles can occur. I feel like things can defy natural order, even though, people don't.
This is not evidence of the resurrection. This is you just declaring that you believe miracles could exist. But then I could say, cool, I can fly. And your evidence now that I can fly, me, Jimmy, is that you believe miracles can happen. You see how that doesn't actually work? Because you're just speaking in broad what you believe to be truisms. You are not, you're trying to pull us back out. You're trying to get out of local because now you want to not debate, did Jesus resurrect? Now you want to switch it to, do miracles happen? Which I reject that they do. But just admit, if you're going to do it, just admit you can't defend the resurrection and we'll move to another topic. But the most important belief you have is that the resurrection happened. It legitimately is the core to all of Christianity. But if you want to move on to different topics, if the resurrection didn't happen, then none of Christianity is true. So, my question to you.
Okay, but if you want to defend that the resurrection happened,
can you defend that the resurrection happened?
Like I said, I'm not an expert at it.
I didn't ask if you were an expert.
If you want to change topics, that's fine.
You're the one trying to change topics up now, trying to gaslight me, Roger. Every time I ask you for
how
evidence.
Am I changing topics?
Because I asked you for evidence of the resurrection, and then you tried to debate whether or not miracles happen. And when I asked you before that, you wanted to go all the way back to just a belief in establishment. You wanted to go to the Philbro route. What is your evidence? Let's assume we're granting you everything before. Everything before. A God exists. The Old Testament is plausible, and a man named Jesus Christ existed. He died and then returned to life after 3 days of true death. What is your evidence that that last thing happened?
Okay, I'll try my best. Okay. All right. I mean, are you willing to say that the New Testament writers are like witnesses of it?
No, because even Christian scholars don't accept that. Most Christian scholars accept that we don't know who wrote those.
Yeah, they were anonymous writers, and they were long after the actual events supposedly occurred.
I assume that even the people that you are listening to, like Frank Turek, do not claim Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John were written by Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, but if maybe they are that level of silly.
But how do you know that like written text couldn't have been copied over like 20 years or 40 years?
How do you know that it did happen? I didn't say I know that it didn't. I literally said we don't know. You're claiming to know it did happen.
Possible, right?
That a book could be copied by somebody else? Sure. Right? Sure. Where does Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John ever even claim they're being written by Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John?
I'm not saying they claimed it, but I'm just saying it's possible that
Right.
even if you don't think they wrote it, that doesn't mean it couldn't be true.
If my grandma had wheels, is it possible she'd be a bike? We can go with hypotheticals
No.
that there are no. Okay, great, but there are no. These are meaningless hypotheticals, and you're just going. We were just talking about this was conspiracy thinking, where it's like, okay, but how do you know he didn't go and bury her in the snow and that wiped her brain? How do you know that this physically didn't happen? You need to present a positive claim. This is the evidence that I say it does exist and is well backed. Not, well, couldn't a guy have told a friend who heard it from another friend who said that that's 0% compelling? You need to tell me how you know that did happen, not ask how I know it didn't.
Yeah, because Roger, is it possible that it didn't happen? Is it possible that there wasn't a resurrection?
I mean, for me, like, if you want to believe that it wasn't possible, that's fine. But for me, I mean, I of course believe it. Like, but
with
Roger, I'm not Jesus Christ.
Well, what do you mean you're not Jesus Christ?
How do you know?
You're not Jesus Christ?
How do you know I'm not? How do you know I'm not Jesus Christ?
Because Jesus was 2,000 years ago. That's why.
But I resurrected.
You're living right now. Huh?
I resurrected. You just told me. Wait, I thought you said you were Christian. Christians don't believe that Jesus Christ is currently dead. No, I believe he's living eternally in heaven right now. He's an eternal being, right? God is an eternal being. So. Yeah, but it's me. It's me. I'm Jesus. How do you know it's not? I'm trying to show you how bad the "how do you know this didn't happen" argument is.
Okay, but how can you claim you're Jesus, but then you're saying that the Bible is not true? So how can you be Jesus?
I didn't say I'm Jesus on the basis of the truth of the Bible. I didn't write the Bible. Other dudes did. Bunch of dicks, really.
I know, but I'm saying Jesus wouldn't say that the Old Testament is false, right?
Why would you say? Why do you believe that? How do you know I wouldn't say that?
Because literally Jesus is God and the religion is Christianity. So it wouldn't contradict each other. What do you mean?
Well, how do you know that I... Wait. How do you know that I like the Old Testament as Jesus? When did I ever write that I like the New Testament?
I'm not saying...
Or Old Testament.
It has nothing to do with liking it, but you just said if you're Jesus Christ, you're not going to contradict saying that the Old Testament is false. So,
why not?
But you're saying, based on what I heard from you...
How do you know I wouldn't?
You're like an agnostic, right?
How do you know I wouldn't say the Old Testament is false?
Well, based on how we describe Jesus Christ as, if he's God in human form, he's not going to lie about his religion,
how do you know?
Right?
How do you know that Satan didn't interfere and rewrite Scripture to try to deceive you? How do you know you aren't being actively deceived by the Bible so that you don't believe in the correct Jesus Christ?
I mean, God is not going to have a book be written and then
it's
being
crazy
influenced
that, like,
by Satan and have
it's crazy
you know
that
what I mean?
10. What are we at? Like 10 of these. How do you know this didn't happen? And he hasn't realized the purpose of the exercise. How do you know such and such didn't happen? Is not a method of evidence. And I asked you for evidence that Jesus Christ resurrected. And you asked, do we accept that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John were written by witnesses, which even Christian scholars don't accept, let alone us? And we said, no, they were written anonymously several decades after. And you said, well, how do you know they weren't copies? Who proposes they are copies? And what is your evidence of the copies? We can do, how do you know they're not all the time? How do you know they weren't teleported? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John wrote them, and then they were teleported past 40 years. Or 60 years or 80 years, depending on which one. So they just look like they're new, but they were teleported. So they were in that state. How do you know? How do you know such and such didn't happen is not how you prove something. You prove something by going, but no, you can't, Jimmy, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John were written by them. And here's our proof. Yes, you can. You can absolutely be skeptical about absolutely everything.
You can. Then how are you going to believe anything in reality?
By letting it meet the threshold of skepticism. Skepticism doesn't mean you don't believe things. Skepticism means you don't accept things as true until they reach an adequate... Is this a troll call? Did I just realize this is a troll call?
No, I think...
No, Roger, I do
think Roger's being genuine.
You can't be skeptical about anything?
Yeah, I'm literally a nice
Skepticism
guy.
means
like,
you do not. Skepticism means you withhold a belief until it has been adequately demonstrated.
To give Roger the benefit of the doubt, everything he's saying so far sounds like me 10 years ago.
All right.
Okay.
I would have really pissed you off.
Okay,
Jimmy.
but how about okay?
I mean,
let's
him
go back to
asking now
miracles.
at the beginning how long he's going to go is now I'm literally like, is he trying to see what kind of score he can set, wasting our time? But this is like some atheist troll just being a silly goose. Like, I feel like
No,
I've got
I'm not
multiple
trying to
red
waste your
flags
time.
now.
I'm trying to genuinely try to like talk to you.
All right, my bad. I hope you don't feel dumb that I thought your argument back was so stupid it didn't seem like a regular person would make it.
All right. Okay. Look. Okay. Let's go back to the miracles. Do you think that there's anecdotal evidence for miracles, like anecdotal evidence, like stories? Do you think all those thousands of
I obviously lots of people. Anecdotal evidence isn't evidence. It's a funny word. Anecdotal evidence is something you can use to demonstrate the function of data. Basically, you have data, but anecdotes are not actually evidence. Anything can be presented as an anecdote, and therefore anecdotes themselves are not evidence. It is the investigation, the data, and the things you confirm that are true. And then you can say, hey, I have this data that says, you know, this percentage of people in this line of work are living in poverty. And now that I've shown you that data, I can give you examples of what that poverty looks like for those people based on anecdotes. Anecdotes come after the proof. They are not the proof, period.
Can you share a miracle, Roger? Can you be specific with a miracle you're presenting to us that we should maybe believe?
I mean, one of the best ones I would probably say is, I don't know if I'm going to say this correctly, but like, I think Tom Hardy, right? Or Tom Brady was a football player. I think he wrote like the John 3:16 like on his forehead. And I think like,
okay, it was like a troll. Roger, don't troll us again. That's fucking
Tim
crazy.
Tebow.
You've seen that by miracle, right?
It took me 21 minutes to realize you're a troll. Well done. 21 minutes. That was almost certainly a fucking troll. The best evidence of a miracle is a Tom Brady thing. We're not going to go with the Lady Fatima. We're not going to go with
Tom Brady. It's Tim Tebow is the really upsetting part. But
fucking Christ.
To be fair, I currently know people. I'm related to people that would make that argument.
But they would literally, he listens to Christian scholars, and his best miracle example is football.
I'm telling you, Jimmy, unfortunately, these people exist. Maybe not, but just so everyone knows, those are the kind of conversations that I have with family members. And that literally football are things that get brought up. And those as miracles. That's
I don't doubt that, like, in their private lives, they're like, and God was on my team's side. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
no. I'm
you're
talking
on
about
a debate show to present the most compelling evidence. And you've already asked the troll question.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
One, how much time do I get? Go ahead, you finish.
I do know people that would call in and say those things, unfortunately.
There's too many in a row where it's how much time am I going to get is already a big red flag. And then coming on to, do you accept that the anecdotes, how do you know that they weren't copies? Do you accept that the anecdotal evidence, wait, how are those not evidence? It's almost like somebody, I don't know whether it was a troll seeing how much time they could get or somebody who was like, I want to give them like an easy win. I want to have a good call where people are going to be like, wow, that Roger is an idiot.
Yeah, I have no idea whether Roger was genuine or not because I can't mind read. I'm just saying the reason I entertain conversations like that is because, unfortunately, there are people out there thinking that those are good points. Just for the audience to hear, because we get those comments a lot. Why do you even talk to these people? There are people who think this way, and it's I don't know. I think it's worth addressing.
The dude said Tom Hardy, then Tom Brady, and meant Tim Tebow as his best example of
that would be really,
best
really bad
example.
It's like kind of so unfortunate that's almost why I believe it.
Yeah, I don't buy it. I think
we got 45 minutes and a couple other callers. We might be able to
get a non-troll. Darcy in Virginia, you're on the line with Jimmy and Promise.
Hi, Jimmy. How are you doing today?
Peachy, how are you?
I'm fan-friggin-tastic.
Cool. What are you calling in on?
So, specifically the abortion at all 9 months issue.
Cool. What's your position?
So as somebody who used to be pro-choice and has evolved on this issue personally, even being
I'm sorry, you're already poisoning the well. Your mind has changed. We're not going to accept the framing of evolved. Your mind has changed. It could have devolved. So if you want to restate that, I'm not playing these games today. It's basically a well poisoning. You're establishing already that your position is better than ours, and so I am going to challenge it. So if you want to restate, as someone who's pro-choice, whose mind has changed on this, we'll take that. Otherwise, we're going to debate whether it evolved.
Apologies, sir. Now, personally, I've evolved. If you disagree, that's
nope.
okay.
But
that's just
thanks,
my
Darcy.
personal.
Okay. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. I'm not doing it. If you want to try again, you can do it. If you want to say your mind has changed, we're here to debate whether or not it has evolved. So if you want to start by poisoning the well and calling it an evolution, we're not doing it. I don't have the patience for it. I don't have the care for it. If you want to say your mind has changed, you believe it's an evolution, but you're literally calling to debate that will do.
More importantly, I don't think your personal history should have anything to do with defending your position. I don't think we need a preamble about who you are, who you've been. I could sit here every time I host and give my testimony of what I used to believe and all the things and why I stopped believing and all of that. And I just don't. People know because of other ways. But I think it would be more interesting to just hear your position and not hear your story.
Editorializing. We could just do the same thing. We were pro-life. We evolved. Okay, now what? We're back to neutral. So Darcy, what is your actual position?
I used to hate women abortion? and not want them to have rights, and now I've evolved. So
yeah, there you go. So Darcy, what's your actual position on abortion?
I've never hated women, and I've never hated women myself personally.
By your standard,
I changed my mind on the issue, but is that better? Are we on the same wavelength now?
Let's just hear your position.
Thank you. I'll ignore your obviously condescending tone. And yes, tell us what your actual position is.
It really comes down to valuing human life and not believing that life begins at any one stage, and that it is not by any scientific measure necessarily that life matters. I mean, the value of life is not based on science anyway. I mean, we value each other because that's called humanity. What is life based on?
No. What is the value of life based on? Because I would counter Darcy. I accept that every step of the way, a zygote all the way through embryo to fetus to baby, that is a life. And I still think you have a right to abort it. So establishing it's a life isn't enough. You're saying it's about value of life. So what is the value of life? Not what is it not based on, which is what you were presenting it. What is it based on?
So are you questioning that humanity does not have value and that our existence on this earth is nothing meaningful?
Jesus Christ, we're not. You can never have an honest conversation. Don't
he
fall
asked a
for
question.
It. Don't. Yeah. Okay. I thought you were doing it.
No.
Darcy, could you answer the question asked of you instead of trying to make it about what you think I'm saying? Answer my question and then ask a question back if you like.
Real quick, what did Jimmy just ask you?
Jimmy asked me, what is the value of human life? Where does that value come from?
There we go. What is it based on? You said it's not. You gave me a list of things it wasn't based on. And I gave you the counterexample that I agree it's alive the whole time. So what are you saying is the value of life is based on? That's your question.
Is that really a question I would have to answer? I mean,
okay.
Are you not
Hey, Darcy. It is literally the core to your argument. So either answer it or just let us go. Don't subject us to
what
your
do you mean,
nonsense.
What's the basis of human life? I mean,
not the basis of human life. Jesus Christ, Darcy.
Of human life. My apologies.
Darcy, stop talking. I'm going to fully explain it to you. And if you do this same stupid shit again, we'll just move on. I never said basis of human life. You came in with a claim about why you are pro-life now, and you started listing the things that the value of life, that term value of life is not basis, based, B-A-S-E-D, on. This was your words. You were listing what it is not based on. I told you, doesn't matter. I agree that zygote to baby is alive, that is a life. So your value of life proposition It doesn't matter what value of life is not based on, which is all you were listing. It would matter whether or not what you say the value of life is based on is coherent and something we would agree on. And that's what we would debate. It is literally the core proposal of your argument, but you avoid presenting your positive claim and only listing negative ones. So now, Darcy, as the microphone is returned to you, if you're going to list the not based on, I need your positive. What is the value of life based on? Thus, that a zygote or an embryo or a fetus cannot be aborted without breaking something we would agree on as a moral code, or we should agree on as a moral code. I can't get clearer than that, Darcy. If you can't engage at that level, let's just call it a fucking day.
All right, Jimmy. If I have to explain to you why human life is important and what it's based on, I mean, we're human.
That's not what's being asked.
I hung up.
I wanted to talk to her.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I have had the same headache for now. We're coming up on 100 days. And I haven't had the patience for. I just laid it out very clearly why she had to engage it. I'm very sorry, promise. It was rude of me to not ask if you wanted to. It's okay. This obviously affects you more than me. And in a way, I was prioritizing my experience over yours. But I couldn't have been clearer. And instead of answering the question, she wanted to go with, if I have to explain that you literally do. It's the core of your argument.
The red flag to me is that she started the whole thing off addressing you. She said, hi, Jimmy. Yeah. Didn't acknowledge me, and I wanted to figure out why, and I wanted to have that conversation with her. So if she wants to call back next week, Darcy, I'll chat with you. Yeah,
you and John Cohen will be here. John has confirmed. John will be back.
He did. Awesome.
Yeah. Nice. Next week, I took myself off. Y'all, John Cohen. Let's see, what is chat saying about that? Graceful Slumber has my back. Graceful knows about that. Graceful wrote, Jimmy has had a headache every day since the accident. Legitimately, it's not yet gone away totally. It sometimes gets low and it's easier to tolerate, but literally since my accident in
Where
May,
is it in your head? Is it like the whole thing, or is it like
front? So right now it's on the top, but it's sourced in my neck from the whiplash injury, and I have a long whiplash injury right at the base of the skull.
That kind of headache.
It's a tension headache, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, they're
not that I like any headache, but
if you want to call in and actually, if you call in and you essentially say, I evolved because my definition, my limits on where life is valuable are the correct ones. I have the right now value of life proposition based on the right thing. And I ask you, great, explain to me what it's based on. And you act like, why would you ask me that? Why would you ask me the question that literally is the core of my argument? It is the core of what we disagree on, which is when the value of life, which I agree, life has value. All life has some value, but not all life has a value that exceeds a right to live, certainly at the point of the right to live whilst violating the autonomy of another individual. Well, that's what I was
going to ask is why should we prioritize the fetus, baby, whatever she wants to call it. I don't care if you're pregnant with a grown ass man that's going to write the next like symphony. I still like, why does that life take precedence over the other one?
Yep. I just couldn't do it. All right.
It's okay.
Brian, Texas theist. Brian, oh man, all my Texas homies are calling in today. Brian, you are on the line with Jimmy and Promise. How are you, Brian?
I'm doing well. How are y'all?
Just fine. We're hoping for the first caller that directly answers questions that are asked and doesn't try to debate the meta of answering questions. I hope that's you.
Sure, yeah, I'm going to give it my best shot.
Cool.
This is also my first time. I heard old Roger on the phone, but this is also my first time kind of doing something like this. I guess I kind of wanted to kind of test myself, and because like I heard you say with another previous caller, as Christians, we're supposed to be able to answer those questions. So I'm going to do my best.
Yeah, the Bible insists. Sure.
absolutely.
It looks like you told the screener that we have trustworthy sources to show the resurrection happened. I would love, let's skip, you say sources. Let's just start with the strongest single source, the strongest piece of evidence that the resurrection happened. And if that one fails, we can go to another one. But I hate when people are like, well, that's just one of them. And then they try to go with a stronger one. Let's start at the strongest. What is the strongest source we have that the resurrection literally happened?
All right. Well, first of all, I do have to apologize. I'm picking up my son from school, so there might be, if you don't mind, there might be like 1 or 2 minutes where I have to step off. But I'm just picking him up from school, so if you don't mind, whenever he comes out.
Are you going to be driving during this call?
Yeah, but I'm hands-free.
No, so Brian,
driving.
I hear you. We don't do that anyway, because if something happened, people are going to question whether or not you were distracted. So why don't we put you back in the queue and what are you, like 10 minutes from home?
Yeah.
All right. We'll give you another shot at, we'll try and take this other call that's on the line. And then once that call's done, if there's time left in the show, we'll see if you're back home. All right.
And if not, call next
really
week.
Yep.
Brian, next week call if you can't get through tonight, because I'm going to be on with John Cohen, and I think we'd love to have that conversation. And we'll understand that it's your first time having that kind of conversation. That's all good.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Brian.
Perfect.
We'll
Thank
possibly
you,
talk to you in a few. Yep.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah.
Thank you.
John is calling in on Does God Exist? He is a theist from Florida. He says it's a question of the worldview. I want to defend him existing, not even a debate. So we are not going to let you monologue and just tell you we are going to debate. If you want to have this conversation, it will be in the form of you make a claim and we will scrutinize that claim. If that's okay with you, we'll proceed. But otherwise, if you're just saying you want to essentially bear your testimony of why you find it compelling with no challenge or pushback, that I'm not interested in.
No, not at all. Just basically, how do you know you exist?
I don't know that I exist.
Right. But how, like, if you would try to make it where, how do I know they exist and we live in this world? Oh,
I don't have any other choice but to operate under those assumptions.
Right. And what are the assumptions? Like, you use your senses, right? Would you say that? Like,
that is among the things that compel me with no other choice but to accept that to some degree. I mean, I do know from experience, like there's the whole saying, I doubt, therefore I am. What is it? I doubt, which proves I think, which proves I am. I can't know that I am anything more than a thinking agent. I don't know for a fact that the reality I'm experiencing is the reality other people are experiencing, but I'm faced with no other choice. So if you're going to try to do a presuppositionalist thing, we can. I will point out that my presuppositions are truly things that I cannot operate. I don't have, what am I just going to cease to exist if I stop presuming them? Whereas the presuppositions of presuppositionalists tend to have just because I want them. They seem to be more coping mechanisms. Is that the route you want to go, John?
Yeah, so basically you have presuppositions and I have presuppositions, right?
Right.
We would agree on that.
And,
right? Okay.
And I have no choice. And in fact, not only do I have no choice, but to have mine, you also have the ones I have. You've added other presuppositions you do have a choice for.
Correct. We're in total agreement here. So me and you are two brains thinking about looking at this world, observing this world,
hopefully,
through our senses, right?
Hopefully,
right? Yeah. Okay. So we can't prove anything, and I'm gonna go with that route. We're good. So you stand in one view that there is no God, and you got to prove it to me, and then I stand on the other worldview where there is a God, right?
Incorrect.
So now we gotta try to make sense. Which one will be correct?
You are extremely incorrect.
Right?
You stand on the view that God does exist, and you have a positive claim to defend. I stand on a couple of views. I don't see a compelling reason to believe God exists, which is more of a I don't accept your claim position. Now, if your claim is the Christian God, I also have evidence to the contrary. I can prove that a red barn isn't blue. There are certain negatives that you can prove. And so, for example, Christianity, the evidence is very compelling that not only is Christianity not true, we can historically connect Christianity to the origins of religion and see the way that superstitious belief evolved over eras and the straight through line of the people who carried it and changed it. Basically bringing it back to accept Christianity as true is to accept that something that began with believing trees were gods is true because that's what it stemmed from. And so you're operating on a completely different set of assumptions about my quote unquote presuppositions. I am willing to make the positive claim that God does not exist, but the actual position would be, I reject your claim, Brian or John, that God exists until you give me adequate evidence to believe it exists.
Well, that's what we're discussing right now, right? So we're discussing the evidence, right? Because
so you're going to present the evidence
to the best. Yeah, correct. So I'm trying to get to that. So we both have to present our evidence, right? So we both can agree.
I'm sorry. I don't have
things.
to present. I'm sorry. You are once again wrong, and I just explained it to you. I do not have to present evidence.
No,
your claim
I'm not talking about
that I reject.
No, that's
claim.
not what I'm saying. I know, but you're saying things that I'm not saying. I'm not saying that you have to they have to accept the evidence. I'm not even.
I never said you said that.
Evidence.
Jesus Christ! I repeated word for word what
John,
you just said back. You are not listening.
You said we both have to present our evidence. There is no both. You are the only one right now making a claim.
So you got to present your evidence.
No, John, don't say correct and then disagree with me. John, please be quiet, and I'm going to help you understand what's happening right now. You are saying that we're both making claims, and so we both have to provide evidence. We are not making a claim. You are the only one right now that needs to provide evidence for anything because we're not making a claim.
Okay, so all right, so let's go back. Okay, that's fine. Even though you are making, there's still a claim. You're rejecting
we're not.
Position, but that's fine. That's fine.
We're not making a claim.
I know. I don't want to argue over that. Okay.
No, John.
Right.
All right, John, I've muted you to explain this to you. You just tried a debate tactic. I think it's poisoning the well. I think there's another one where you basically act like, I just want to move forward. I'm going to go ahead and throw a little wedge in and say, you just lied about what you said. You just did this. You went like, okay, no, I accept that. Okay, except, by the way, you guys are lying. You did make a claim. But no, I don't even want to debate that. So you literally offered a counterpoint and then tried to fast speak your way past us saying, no, we didn't. So John, but before I unmute you, I'm going to make this extremely clear. Right now, the debate is your positive claim, does God exist? Your position is yes, and there is evidence for it. Our position is we will hear out the evidence and we will see whether or not it is compelling. It's not even like a traditional debate format. We're not saying no, we're not saying contrary. Right now, John, you're calling in and you're saying he does exist. So what we want from you is not you trying to, first of all, not listen and say I said things I didn't say while claiming I just said things you didn't say, and then repeat it wrong because you weren't even listening to what I said about what you said. It's getting way too meta in here. All I want now, John, 6 minutes into the call or wherever the fuck we are on it. What does the timer say on, it paused on, it's supposed to not pause on our version on the staff tool. But we're like 6-7 minutes into it. John, I'm bringing you back on to ask once again, your claim is God does exist. What evidence do you have of him existing?
I can account for my abstractions. How do you account for your abstractions in your worldview?
John, why can't you answer the question? What is your evidence for your God? Why is this so difficult?
I have abstractions. I can account it in my worldview. You can't.
I hung up. I'd rather do no calls than dumb calls.
That was the worst one.
I'm ruining so many shows lately because I don't have the patience for it. If you ask me what the evidence for my claim is that I have a box of Magic the Gathering Avatar The Last Airbender bundle box next to me, I am not going to resort to my evidence is I have my worldview and you have your worldview, and you have a claim and I have a claim. And I'm going to start going with, well, first thing, I can present to you video evidence and audio evidence. This is the sound it makes when you tap one. I could open and unseal it in front of you. In fact, did anybody pay for that? We did get the We haven't yet. So if whoever does the next $10, you can choose whether the next box I open is Hobbit or Avatar: The Last Airbender. Just put it in your super chat. I would start presenting you specifics. I could even get into more abstract things. All right, here's the evidence. Here are the store pages. Here are many people's accounts. Here are many people's videos of them opening these same boxes. Let's first establish that the organization that puts out these has released that these boxes exist, that the boxes already exist prior to whether I have the box or not. So we've established the possibility that I have a box. And then whether this is a box and whether or not the contents of this box is what I'm saying the contents of the box are. We literally can do all of that. And I feel like there is something so telling in a lot of these Philbro people, in a lot of these, how much did that set you back? I got them both MSRP at Walmart. I just forgot I had this box. So whatever MSRP was. There's something so very telling about, I have a simple positive claim, and my evidence of it is, well, let's talk about whether or not we even know we exist. We actually don't. You're talking about solipsism. We don't know for sure that we exist, or we certainly don't know whether or not our existence is as we think it is. We don't know whether or not we are truly Homo sapiens existing in, because there are lots of people with complete delusions of reality who are also convinced. And I can't say that the complexity of my brain's delusion isn't sufficient to create this entire world and that none of you exist. And nobody has a solution for this. Religion has no solution for solipsism, because at the end of the day, you could be a brain in a vat that has been programmed to accept Christianity and to deny that it's, or to claim that it does prove hard solipsism. None of this shit. And so there's something so very fucking telling to me. Go ahead and give Michael in chat, Luthien, if you would, a 7-day timeout. You know what you did, Michael. That's fucked up. Shut the fuck up. It's in the horizontal one, Luthien. There's something so telling about, you're questioning whether or not my religious belief that comes with magic tricks and all of this dogma and stuff is real. Well, let's start questioning if the universe even exists then. The natural follow-up from I could be wrong is, if I could be wrong, we should question whether or not anything exists. If I could be wrong about my religious beliefs and my moral beliefs and my God beliefs, the next logical step is, how do we know anything exists? It is this fucking narcissism of belief that the next logical step for you is, well, if I'm wrong about God, then maybe the universe doesn't exist. Oh, man. I like when people in chat, Jimmy, even if you're a brain in a vat, you still exist. So stop saying you don't know if you exist. I literally already said, except in the sense of the old quote, I doubt, therefore I think, therefore I am. We do exist at some plane, but whether or not our existence, which is what I just explained, whether or not our reality resembles that which we think it resembles, we do not know. Even this sense of individualism. Thank you to Arcbinder. We're going to give the other caller like another 2 minutes to get home before trying there. I will prove, it was asked that I prove that I have a box of ATLA, so I'm going to, that one I would call a tear. When you're pulling the thing across, that was a tear.
I feel like that would have been the one time you could say rip.
This is the unsleeving. But I don't know. There's something
Good God, there's no shirts involved in this. Why are we saying sleeves?
I'm removing it from its sleeve because this box is a sleeve for it.
I hate this.
How did mine get folded? My little art insert, that they're cheap and not that good anyway. Somebody folded mine. All right, and then we'll do the nice unboxing. I love smelling stuff like this. This one kind of smells like farts, though.
What the hell is
We'll pull out this.
on?
This has like little cards and little counters. We're getting to that other one in a second, and then there are, I think, 9 boosters, and then these 2 packs that are like, they're kind of see-through. They have the same guaranteed cards in every one, and then it comes with a nice, fun little crystallized D20. So those are nice. All right, I'll open the first pack as well for that $10, and then we'll jump to the next one. No, I didn't just get into MTG. I did in the last couple of years. So
What
like
is
this
MTG?
Magic the Gathering. This box is
I thought
I bought
Marjorie
this
Taylor
like a year
Greene.
ago. I never was into it as much as the others, but I love having card collections. And so I would say I got more into collecting in the last few years. But I definitely played some in high school a little bit here and there. And I've always liked it. But with Pokemon so scalped and hard to get, and Yu-Gi-Oh becoming kind of a dog shit game and scalped, I've been just collecting what kind of can be collect. What dono amount to make promise buy a box and rip it?
Just don't say those words, I guess.
But what amount would make you say those words? First of all, we need enough money to get her a box in Finland. So we're starting at like,
well, they sell them
at
in
least
Finland. I can go. Yeah, it'd have to be
but
at
do they
least
sell them in
$100
English
because
in Finland?
in English, yes. I would have to. Here's what you'd have to be paying me for. I'd have to pay for the bus or the train ride to go into town. Then I'd walk to the store. Then
Nowhere
I'd buy
delivers
it.
to you?
No, there's no Amazon here.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Sparring dummy. That was our follow.
I would do it for 100.
Well, $100 may, depending on what prices are and how
not
it changes
tonight,
in Finland.
Obviously, it would
that
have to
might
be
only
like I'll have to
cover
go
the
get it.
box.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
This box of 9 boosters, I think, is like $60.
I'll go to the store.
Locally.
Wait, can they be any cards that I find interesting?
So I would say it probably needs to be at least either
Pokemon.
Magic. Let the person who donates, but Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, but it needs to be a box with like enough of them in there.
I will.
Lorcana, I guess you could do. That's Disney's.
Let's see if I even get into this. So I will buy myself a small packet of Pokemon or Magic the Gathering. I'll bring them to the next. I'll wait till I'm on with Jimmy. I won't put John Cohen through that. And then I will, share with the class. No super chats required, but tips will be appreciated.
No, super chats required. Get one pack
not for a little
for
pack.
One
that's
pack,
fine.
yeah. But you have to use the language. Promise. I'm
not using the language.
Promise. We've been doing this for years.
The
together.
language is
We
not.
have been friends for this long. How many times and how many ways am I going to have to say to you, never give it away for free?
Okay. Listen.
Luke, would you bring me a bottle of water, please? And we'll bring on Brian. All right, Brian in Texas, were you able to get home? Are you in a safe location now?
Yes, sir. I'm at home. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, what did you got for us, Brian?
Yeah. So back on the topic of the resurrection. Excuse me.
Thank you.
So you wanted, and just trying to steel man your I guess question. You want a hard source for the resurrection account, correct?
I don't know what the word hard source means to you, but it sounds like something that would be pretty good. I want something that a person who would be evident to a person whether or not they believed in the resurrection prior to that conversation. So not a person biased against obviously that would be different, but something that would be sufficient to go, oh yeah, this thing that is unprecedented in the world, the most reasonable conclusion is that it happened.
Sure. So I guess for me, I'm sorry. I do have to ask one more question. I did hear you mention before about Christian scholars. What Christian scholars, I guess, and like, would you consider Josephus, Tacitus, Thales to be Christian scholars?
Well, first of all, the Josephus accounts are already considered largely by modern scholars to be forgeries. Tacitus never indicated that he ever met Jesus himself, only that he meant that he interacted with the movement of that he was aware of the idea of Jesus and other people. I would say it's one of the better ones that the idea of Jesus existing as a person, not as a resurrected being, but as a person, Tacitus is one of the better early accounts that the idea that a being named Jesus existed enough to be heard of. Still doesn't actually prove that Jesus himself, the man, even existed, but it's at least some of the more compelling stuff. The Josephus thing, no. Josephus, by many, those accounts are considered to be forgeries. Who was your third one?
Thales, but Thales was, I guess, more of a writer of the time. He wasn't necessarily, I don't believe, a scholar. I'm kind of iffy on some of these details.
Yeah. So and remember, you're here to declare that the resurrection has evidence, not even Jesus the man, but the resurrection. So who is it that you believe has presented? Because when it's something like, so to be clear, Brian, just to make it easy for you, if we agreed that Josephus's things weren't, or let's just make a new guy, there's a guy named Harry, and we feel definitively positive that Harry's account were written by Harry's own hand. And Harry went and saw Jesus Christ be resurrected, and he wrote in his own hand that he saw it. And otherwise, everything else Harry ever wrote seemed to be pretty accurate. I still would not go a singular account by Harry from thousands of years ago is more compelling than the fact that resurrection, you can't come back to death, from death, true death, after 3 days. So whatever the reason is he wrote that, there are natural explanations. Since the supernatural has never been demonstrated, all of those natural explanations are more plausible. So even if you had 3 guys and none of them were forgeries, I wouldn't then go, this overwhelms all of the things we've learned about the world since those 3 guys were alive.
Sure, and I can appreciate that. And just so we're clear, are you still, for conversation's sake, granting that Josephus may be verifiable?
No, I don't grant that Josephus is verifiable.
Okay, that's fine. And I guess so. Overall, my idea would be that with the writings, because I would debate the Josephus point, but that's the point that we're talking about is the resurrection. So to take a
but I already told you it wouldn't matter if I granted you. If I did grant it to you, it wouldn't be compelling to me. Brian, one of the things you need to overcome is if somebody says there was a man and he was conjuring fireballs from thin air and using them to make lasagna, you would want first proof that it's possible to conjure fireballs from thin air, let alone for that to make any kind of quality lasagna. You would want evidence that the first claim is plausible. And hearing that 2,000 years ago, a guy that we trusted for something else said the fireball thing, you would first assume that guy's understanding from 2,000 years ago is probably so reduced compared to ours that the most likely natural explanation, if you accepted that he is actually reporting his eyewitness account, is that he didn't understand what he was seeing, and that there's some kind of Chris Angel motherfucker back there doing it naturally, but convincing people that it's supernatural, because these are people who believed in magic in the first place. So, not to mention, by the way, Josephus's works weren't written, I just looked up, until like 70, 80 years after Jesus died.
Yes, that's correct. And my whole point, I guess, going towards the evidence with the Christian scholars, and I would even beg to put in Paul's writings. With those accounts, what you're seeing is there is a group of people that followed a person named Jesus Christ. We can agree that Jesus Christ existed, right?
No, I'm sorry, we can't. I don't reject that that it's possible he existed. I don't say Jesus Christ didn't exist. The burden of proof, first of all, I do reject Jesus Christ existed. Jesus may have existed. Christ suggests that I am granting to you that the magic man existed, that the guy doing Christ thing existed. I actually do reject that. But there may be a man named Jesus to whom we are ascribing these things. And none of what we have been talking about so far gets us even close. If you establish Jesus Christ was born, or Jesus the man was born, and he did turn water into wine, you still haven't proven the resurrection. So we're waiting for the evidence of the resurrection still.
Sure. So I'm trying to piece together, I guess, the position that you're coming from, because you mentioned at one point that, miracles don't happen, but then you said you're just now saying to me that even if the miracle does happen, it doesn't account for the resurrection. Is that correct?
Yes, that is literally true. Whether or not Jesus turned water to wine would only, if you could prove he turned water to wine, which I also reject, but this was just as an example. I don't think he turned water to wine, but turning water to wine doesn't mean that he resurrected. By the way, you could actually prove Jesus resurrected, and you still wouldn't have proven that he is God or the Son of God. Every single one of those claims would need different evidence. So the good news is for you, I reject all of them, all the way down to multiplying the fishes and the loaves, water to wine, all that. I reject them all. You called in on the biggest one, the resurrection. Actually, the second biggest one. The biggest one is he's God or the Son of God, depending on which tradition you have. So the second biggest one is the one that you called in on, and that's the one you need to present evidence for.
Sure. I mean, I was prepared to give that evidence, but now I'm kind of confused again because you said that I can prove. Now, I don't know if that is a position to say that somebody has brought those proofs, or I'm not sure exactly what you're saying, because you're saying that even if the resurrection were true, it doesn't mean that he was God. So
Brian, yes,
I'm just trying to follow.
Brian, if you prove the resurrection was true, you would change my mind on something that I don't believe is true. You would then have to prove the fact that he resurrected means everything he said about himself was true, which is a separate claim. So right now, your claim is that these are just, maybe I'm introducing you to skepticism, Brian, I don't know, but it's basically like, if I can do a card trick that blows your mind, does that mean you have to believe everything I say about how I did the card trick and what it says about me?
No.
Right. So similarly, if Jesus can resurrect, does it prove that he can do any of the other things or that he's the Son of God? You could say it's in his basket of evidence, like reasons to consider him as a candidate, but it actually would be separate. So, and that's fine. If you prove the resurrection, I would find Christianity much more compelling and would then examine those claims. But right now, and we're running out of time. We have 9 minutes left. Promise and I are weighted. Maybe Promise will tell me I'm the reason why it took so long because I introduced too many concepts to you. And I should have just said, Brian, your claim is we have trustworthy sources that show the resurrection happened. I am unaware of any trustworthy source that has demonstrated anything close to the resurrection happening. And so I'm only asking you what those trustworthy sources are.
Okay. And I do apologize. I'm not trying to buy up your time. I'm trying to understand the perspective in which to approach this. So I do apologize.
Okay. Do you want to debate one of the trustworthy sources, whether they're trustworthy or not? Like I thought this is what you called in to present. And so that's what I'm trying to get to.
Yes. No, I mean, yes, I'm trying to present evidence for the resurrection. And my idea with the sources is that they present that Jesus was a person who existed, who was crucified by Pontius Pilate of Tiberias.
Okay, and which source would you like to say is one of those trustworthy sources?
That would be Tacitus. At least that's one that you would accept, right?
Except for that I already said Tacitus isn't a source for the claim you just made. Tacitus at best is an early source. Correct. Tacitus at best is a source that shows that early on people were aware of at least the idea and story of Jesus, which could either be that he was a living myth or that he existed. So certainly I would not, Tacitus doesn't claim a resurrection happened, basically claims to be aware of a preacher who was killed. And that wouldn't be any evidence of the resurrection.
Of course, that's why I'm building up. I'm kind of working to it.
Okay.
So you accept that Tacitus did acknowledge that there was a preacher or a rabbi who was killed.
Why don't we just say his exact words? He didn't. It's like 2 sentences.
I'm sorry,
Do you know what they are?
What is it?
All right, I'll look it up. I assume since you're presenting it that you would have it. I'm going to get the words exactly right. Because it's literally so little. And so I hope this isn't, because I did ask you to start with your best, and I hope Tacitus isn't your best. Let's see. Christus, the founder of the name, had undergone the death penalty in the reign of Tiberius by sentence of Procurator Pontius Pilate.
So,
by the way, do you know when that was written?
116.
I think you're thinking of Josephus. 64 CE. So still not even happening close to the same time. So once again, my position of either it is him actually recounting something that happened, or a living myth that made it to, or a living myth or something that made it to him. Because we're talking still decades later.
Right. Well, the events happened 33, and you're saying that it was written 60, 64?
Yes. And not by a person who was there, a person who heard about it.
Right. But
also, I don't think 33 CE is the correct.
You realize I feel like part of the scrutiny that you are giving to some of these sources, because like I said, I would argue the authenticity of Josephus, but we're not here for that. But I feel like
But okay, I grant you Josephus. If I grant you Josephus, does that help you?
I mean, sure, if you do or don't, but I'm just trying to figure out, because you can say, well, this source is iffy because it was written down by somebody else or whatever. These are the same ways that a lot of historical accounts of people like Augustus Caesar were written down. So
correct, and I reject all of the magical claims. Brian, I reject every magical claim about Augustus Caesar, even if it was even if it was in the history that we use to accept. I have no problem accepting that Augustus Caesar probably existed. If somebody came tomorrow and said, I have proof true that he actually didn't exist and that was all a mistake and that evidence was compelling, I'd go, all right, he didn't exist, which is not an option for the Christian God. You're not allowed to doubt that. You're not allowed to go, you know what? I'm open to the idea that this whole thing is bullshit. I'm open to the idea that that George Washington didn't exist. If you can prove it didn't exist, no matter who it is. And anybody who has a magical claim about them, I accept that Abraham Lincoln exists. I reject that he was a vampire killer.
Well, it's the fact that these people, if you're granting that these people are reliable sources, if you're granting that, then you would have to acknowledge that they are accounting of people who essentially had a radical change in belief from their current society of what they were. I mean, you have to think the Jewish people of that time. That was a radical.
Brian, you're describing every religious movement that's ever happened. For the people who became Mormons 200 and whatever years ago, it was a radical change. Is it up to 200 yet? For the people who became Muslims, for the people who became Hindu, for the different iterations, all those things have gone through. You're just describing, yes, societies go through dramatic changes. America went through a dramatic change. While you can still see the influences of everything else, but Donald Trump fundamentally changed America. For the terrible, I would suggest, but there is a change that happened. So charismatic.
With granting that changes happen, would you say that certain changes can happen or certain events can happen that would cause massive changes like that to happen?
Yeah, and all of them happen naturally. I have no evidence that any of them happen via supernatural means.
So what natural evidence do you have that would be the case? Because you would have to say that all these people, and I mean, present me a different argument, please, but all these different people.
Brian will do anything but defend that the resurrection happened. Brian, this is literally you're doing what the other callers were. I just want straight answers, and now you're doing like, okay, but like, since you're questioning whether the resurrection happens and I don't have any actual evidence, I'm going to start going maybe the second most reasonable thing about whether or not literal magic happened, and you're doubting it. Shouldn't we question whether everything natural happened? Shouldn't we question the very data? And I've already said, if you proved, for the most part, when it comes to history, I don't claim anything for sure was a designated, could be unchanged fact, but we have an idea of history. For all I know, the whole thing is bullshit, and we operate as though it is true because it actually helps you most successfully get about life and society and understanding where certain institutions and shit came from. And I'm open to all of it being wrong with sufficient evidence. As far as the major changes, where I would find the evidence of major changes happening, there is lots of historical evidence. There's lots of archaeological evidence. There is the literal presentation of new holy books and the archaeological evidence from where those things came from. There is sociological evidence because we see those types of things happening today. See, Brian, I can answer every single question you're asking me directly, and you won't defend that the resurrection happened. So, Brian, let's get off the resurrection of Jesus. What evidence do you have that a resurrection of anybody is possible?
I don't have any personal evidence.
Or not
my belief in the
personal
resurrection
evidence.
of Christ.
Exactly, Brian. You do not have, when you call in and you say Bible is trustworthy, we have trustworthy sources to show the resurrection happened. That's not true. You have faith that's true. And you finally admitted to faith, but only when I reframed the question and took Jesus out of it. Because if you got it shaky while Jesus is in and didn't sound confident, you would feel internally like you had committed a sin. You don't have any evidence it happened. You have faith that's true. Muslims have faith in their shit. Hindus have faith in their shit. You all believe on faith. I don't believe anything on faith. I don't believe you can have something supernaturally designated to you and told to you to be true or not true. That's not my vibe. And it seems to be that whenever you have all these people who do believe that, they can all believe contradictory things, but they're all positive they're right. So, Brian, the show is over. If you want to take a week to think about it, John and Promise are back next Monday. There are other shows throughout the week, but you didn't get there.
Brian, I'd be happy to chat with you next week.
May I give a 30-second closing comment?
Sure.
So I believe I understand what you're trying to present here and what you're saying. And I feel like part of the issue, I guess the mismatched communication is kind of something that was brought up in Roger's conversation. And it was the idea about miracles and so on and so forth. And you said that he was trying to draw back from the conversation of the resurrection.
Okay, Brian, I'm already, your 30 seconds are up, even if they're not, because I don't care about the meta commentary. Go back and watch the call, Brian, and just ask yourself.
You're a terrible debater, man. You're a poor moderator.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you. I don't care about you've just come onto my show. I've presented you to my audience. You should be thanking me. I don't care about what your notes are on. You need to go back and watch the call, Brian, who has now dropped himself because he's terrified. Brian, go back and watch the call and go, I called in to defend that the resurrection happened. And you tell me, leave it in the comment, the notes of, here's when I started defending the evidence of the resurrection.
Well, and if you think that Jimmy was the problem, call next week and talk to me and John and then prove the resurrection.
There you go. You'll be able to prove it to them.
We just have to wait one more week and then
you'll be able to prove it to them. So you're a terrible debater. I'm a terrible debater. You called in with the proposition we have good evidence of the resurrection and you didn't start to begin it ever. 20 minutes and you never presented your first evidence of the resurrection. In fact, you only tried to present evidence of Jesus, a man existing, which didn't matter anyway. You did zero on the resurrection of Jesus. We have a couple of quick things before we let everybody go. There's a couple more super chats, so I've got to pull a couple of packs here, but Billy did send paying to begin the Promise special interest collection. Jimmy, you're still getting the coins. Billy is apparently leaving me a coin collection when he passes, and I love Billy for it. And maybe it will. Here's the thing. Right now, I'm not into coins, and I'd like to stay that way. So my fear is that he leaves it to me and then I get super into coins because I don't want, and he thinks that's really funny. So I think that's why I'm getting it.
It's funny too.
So I'm literally like, I don't want it.
I'm going to start trying to find Are we talking about just like coins in general? Like,
Yeah, I think. Well, he says he doesn't even know because they're like his grandpa's coins. He's like, so they might be quarters that are worth 25 cents.
I will contribute to this collection. I'm going to find some random coins in antique stores here and just start saving them for you, so that now you have to.
One day you're just going to hand me a pile of.
Care. Yeah.
He doesn't even know if they're antique coins.
When we finally meet for the first time, I'm just going to have like a little pouch full of coins that I hand you, and that'll be our first meeting. It's still weird that we haven't met in person. Like, I don't feel like that's true.
It's
I know
not that
it's
weird
true,
though,
but I don't feel like it is.
Because it's not that weird because you're so flaky. Because we've made like 90 plans, we
have not made a single solid plan ever. I have never.
Everyone heard your hesitation, and then you added the word solid.
Because I'm being
solid in my heart.
I'm being super like. What do you mean? We've never made real plans, or else I would have been there. We've talked about, hey, if I'm there in January, I'll come to Texas, things like that. But
Luthien, I think you know the answer to this. I'm pretty sure I'm right on here. I'm not saying, and Luthien will be reluctant to take my side because she loves Promise more than me. But Luthien, am I wrong in thinking that at some point we did put on the calendar when they would be taking the apartment? Because we did kind of have we were getting pretty close to solid plans.
Do you remember what happened? Do you remember why we didn't come then?
Hey, listen, reasons.
Do you remember that it was
always
literally
reasons.
because I didn't have paperwork and I still haven't met my niece. So
what you're saying is that the assertion we never had solid plans wasn't technically true. It was just there were
no. The
solid
assertion
plans.
that I'm flaky. The assertion that I'm flaky is incorrect.
Yeah, that was me just trying to shit stir.
Think about the line.
Yeah.
Have I ever flaked on something with the line that I was
I'm
committed
just glad
to?
that nobody is. I'm just waiting for the people to, because all I'm doing is setting up my own Earth Village Ruffians, and it's got the special symbol on it. I'm just setting up my own little soapbox because I'm going to when people are like, Jimmy, it's a two-way street. Why haven't you gone to see her? And then I'm going to accuse them of ableism.
Oh, that's actually a really great point. I'm over here trying to be nice. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
It is.
When's the last time I was physically capable of traveling an hour away from my home?
I wasn't legally capable. So you can't, if you're going to blame me, then I'm going to blame you too.
By the way, there have been times you've been in America that you were going to stop here and you didn't. So
I don't believe that because I haven't been in America.
Wait, this is true. You were the last time. I think it was the last time you were in America. We were talking about you going.
You mean when no one was supposed to know I was there?
From Tennessee to here and coming, and then you were like, "I think I can." And I'm not saying your excuses aren't good, but basically, it sounded like you were getting so overwhelmed by what you were going to have to handle there that you were like, "I can't add that to the trip."
I'm going to stop now because I'm going to get upset. So
why?
Because I'm tired and now I'm being sensitive.
The reasons are all good, and I'm mostly shit stirring because I can't travel anywhere, and I miss you, and I just love you.
Well, yeah, that upsets me because I would rather hang out with you than.
Let's just do it. You want to come out end of this month?
Okay, great. Except I'm gonna have Luthien come visit me instead.
I know. By the way, that is a real thing.
Also, you know,
that is a real thing.
Yeah, that is gonna happen. We are gonna meet.
I would fully come and visit you. I just can't. And then she's like, "But let's bring your girlfriend out here without you." And then she and I are gonna go on a tour across Europe and stay in castles.
The countries.
There are other notes you guys don't know that make me look like less of the bad guy.
I was about to say something else. I can't remember. It's too late. It's 8 minutes past my my call time. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'll look for it. It'll be an amazing day when it happens. It doesn't make me at all sad that I almost died earlier this year and we just would have never met.
Okay.
I'm gonna do the puppy eyes now.
That was so rude. I legally, that's what I was about to say. Currently, I cannot enter I cannot leave the Schengen area unless I don't want to be let back in. So that's kind of a bummer.
When can you leave again?
3 weeks to 9 months from July is when they're supposed to give me my decision.
Guys, if I could travel to Finland, there's a chance I'd have moved there. I found out I'm a dual citizen of the UK. I didn't know this.
Helpful.
Well, but then you're still in Europe.
I know, but it's not the Schengen area, so you still have to all the rules like it'd be the same as going from. I mean, it's better.
I feel also travel times and I feel the barrier
course.
between going from
Yeah.
the UK to Finland, despite them leaving the EU, is still probably
Well, I know the way
easier.
I think of it is like I can take a quick flight and I never go through any like customs or border patrol like over to anywhere else. But then the UK, you have to go through all of that and it's so annoying. So to me, I still think of it as the loser place.
But I could be going across
everybody.
the castle tour.
That's true.
You know,
That's
I could be
true.
a part of, if I could, I would. Yeah, I found out I think I told you I'm a dual citizen. I didn't know until this year that I'm technically a dual citizen of the UK, a country I've never stepped foot in. It's fun.
That's
fun. But my mother was technically still a British citizen and hadn't gotten American citizenship at the time of my birth. So I inherit that. It's fun.
I would take that if I were you.
Get
your paperwork. Okay, everybody. Wings. Speaking of the UK, come back here next week, same time. John Cohen's going to be here.
Johnny Cohen. Does he like Johnny?
Oh no, he's already got a nickname that he
go,
never
Johnny, go,
asked for.
Go. Go, Johnny, go. Fade black. Go, Johnny, go. Go.